If you've ever lived in a share house, you'll know that everyone needs to pitch in. A space that's generally nice to hang out in doesn't just happen on its own. But when the housework involves complex global issues like climate change, human rights and poverty, being a good housemate gets a lot more complicated. We've inherited a world with some big problems, and it's going to take a lot more than some bleach and rubber gloves to fix it. Solutions to these problems are within reach, but where do we start? How about right here with 3 things? Take the outfit you put on this morning. Exploitative wages and conditions are still common in the garment sector. By making the effort to buy ethical or vintage clothing, we can reduce the demand for cheap clothing and the abuse of people who make it. Or how about food? By knowing where your food comes from and choosing to buy fair trade, you know that the people producing it were paid a fair amount with enough to cover food, shelter, and an education for their kids. As for climate, it's changing, that's obvious. What isn't obvious is the fact that vulnerable farming communities who depend on reliable weather are being hit first and worst. You can help influence government policies and business practices by riding a bike and making a noise about climate change. That way the poorest people on the planet aren't the ones left to foot the bill. Cleaning up a century's worth of mess is impossible on your own. But while our actions alone may seem small, together they can have a massive impact. Join Oxfam and the thousands of people who've committed to starting with 3 ethical, sustainable and generous things they can do to help change the world. It is possible to be a good housemate. Find out how at 3things.org.au. The movement for global goodness starts here.